whole transition process was orchestrated by the mineral energy complex. And with Harry Oppenheimer and to a lesser extent Anton Rupert, they organized everything. Early in the 1990s, there was regular lunches between Mr. Mandela and Harry Oppenheimer. When I became aware of it, I remember I was furious. For what must they have lunches? But these lunches developed into regular meetings at Little Brunthurst. It is the estate of Harry Oppenheimer. When too many people attend that secret meetings, the meetings were shifted to the development bank between Johannesburg and Pretoria. Normally at night, it was easy to park the cars at the back side of the building, and people on the N1 was not aware of that important meetings that was taking place there. And there, the ANC was convinced to forget about their ideas of socialism and large-scale government intervention, etc. You see, America was in the beginning of the 90s, in a mood of triumphalism. Their attitude was that the American model has won, and that everyone must adapt to the American model. So under the pressure of the South African business sector, with pressure from the Americans that had quite a vested interest in South Africa, the ANC was had to give in. You see, if on the question why have they accepted the new liberal model of the Americans, that is definitely not the correct model for South Africa. Is the bargaining power of the business sector and the Americans. But the Americans was also in a position to make use of threatening the ANC, that if you, in a rather diplomatic way, told the ANC, if you are not going to accept our proposals, we can destabilize South Africa. Now, and there is a third possibility that no one can prove, and I can only speculate it. The question is how many money went under the table. So there's the three reasons: convincing the ANC with arguments, threatening them, and buying them out. Two or all three was at play at that time, because from May 1992, the ANC published a document, Ready to Govern. In that document, it was clear. Previously, the ANC talked about growth through redistribution. In that document of 92, they talk about redistribution through growth. And you know, the year policy was announced in 1996, the so-called trickle down. If there is growth in the capitalist sector, then there will be a trickle down to the poor. It is not necessary to have comprehensive redistributive measures, the typical American approach, that with growth there will be trickle down. In November 1993, South Africa was governed by the Transitional Executive Committee, the TEC. There was 8 National Party ministers and 8 senior members of the ANC. And they had a meeting to ask the International Monetary Fund for a loan of $850 million. The that we need for the transition. And the IMF, and it was, of course, everything was arranged, was prepared to give the loan, but they had a document, a statement on economic policy, and said, yes, we will give you the money if all 16 sign the document. And if one read that document, statement on economic policy carefully, it is gear in embryo form. It is the new liberal policy. And so the ANC had no choice. It was, after in 1986 already, when Gorbachev and Reagan reached an agreement to seek negotiated settlements for all the flashpoints in the world. After that, Reagan informed the ANC that he can't any longer, the Soviet Union can't any longer support the ANC military and financially. Now the ANC don't want us to mention that. As they said, Gorbachev only told them to look for a diplomatic solution instead of a military solution. But the truth is that Gorbachev realized at that stage that the Soviet Union, after the 20 years of Brezhnev, was in a near bankrupt situation. And it is rather remarkable that the American government put quite a lot of pressure on the National Party from Washington, and that Gorbachev from Moscow was putting pressure on the ANC to seek a solution. But it was a solution in the end that the Americans want.